Well, today was the last day of school for our girls, and both girls came home with some report cards. And it got me thinking about, with the end of the school year, it's always a good time to maybe evaluate how we did. And as it relates specifically to our living communities, and as you pastor and lead living communities, I think it might be a good time for all of us to just take some time this summer to maybe sit down with our living community, take a living community gathering, and just give yourselves a report card. Kind of a report card on how you did in the four functions of a living community. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I was thinking, if I were to ask my living community what the four functions of a living community are, I'm pretty confident they wouldn't be able to tell me. Now, it's not to say that we aren't fulfilling the four functions, that we aren't sharing the word, sharing life, sharing mission, and sending. But I think we can be more effective if everybody's on the same page. If our whole living community knows that we're here, this living community exists obviously for the glory of Christ, to make disciples, and we do that as a living community through sharing the word, sharing life, sharing mission, and sending. If everybody's on the same page, then I think we'll be a lot more effective. And so then they know why they're coming and what to expect. So I would encourage all of us sometime this summer, take a living community gathering and just sit down with them and maybe talk about what the four functions are, and then have them grade themselves. Celebrate. How did we share the word this past school year? How did we share life outside of the living community gathering or outside of living community nights? How do we share mission? Who did we serve this year? And as a result of it, we see them growing toward Christ, or they became a disciple of Christ. And did we sin? Did we start a new living community? If not, did we talk about it? Did we pray about it? So this summer, I want each of us to kind of take some time with our living communities, talk about the four functions, grade ourselves, give ourselves a report card, celebrate, and then as we look ahead to the fall, let's think about how we can be more effective in those four functions. And as you talk about them, remember, those four functions come straight from Christ himself. Christ modeled them to us. He shared the word. He taught the scriptures. He is the word. He shared his own life with us. So we see him sharing the word. We see him sharing life, ultimately giving his life on the cross. We see him sharing the mission as he gave the mission to the church, to the disciples, to make disciples. And then we see him sending the church out on the mission that he had called us to. So we see Christ modeling the four functions, and then we see those four functions also lived out by the first century church. So it's a good time at the end of the school year to celebrate, be excited, but also a good time to evaluate and to think about how did we as a living community do this year? How did we really live the mission? Did we share the word well? Did we share life and mission and send? Did we do that well? And how can we be more effective at those four functions this next fall as we start again? So take some time this summer, evaluate, celebrate, and then look ahead to the fall and see how we can be more effective with our living communities in the four functions of sharing the word, sharing mission, sharing life, and sending.